So hey, look everybody, I got a question here for y'all, okay? Have y'all ever tried these new Red Bull strawberry apricot? I got mine in the sugar-free variety. They're my new favorite. Highly recommend them. You gotta give them a shot. But for everybody, what is going on? My name is Terry. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys and gals are all doing fan-freaking-tastic out there. You know, I know a few days or so ago I posted a video talking about how I wasn't a big fan of the way that NVIDIA was advertising their RTX 5000 series, and I still stand by that. Whenever it comes to pure rasterization, I would love to see the performance of said rasterization raw, without any kind of DLSS or multi-frame gen tech. But there is one feature that the RTX 5000 series is finally introducing that I don't think anybody is talking about or talking about enough, okay? And if you are a video editor, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. With the RTX 5000 series, NVIDIA is finally putting the hardware capability in their cards to decode natively 10-bit 422 video footage. And for all of you non-video people out there, I'm gonna just explain this in a very, very basic way. Long story short, 10-bit 422 footage is the highest quality video you can shoot on any kind of high-end consumer camera, for example, okay? Like, it's very, very computationally intensive for any kind of machine to brute force that without first transcoding the footage into something like, you know, ProRes, or in a lot of cases here, Cineform. Because why? There is no hardware acceleration yet for 10-bit 422 on NVIDIA and AMD-based graphics cards. So unless you have a very high-end CPU with the high core clock and high core count, your system can and probably will struggle editing your footage, even if you use a piece of software like DaVinci Resolve, for example. And you might be saying, well, Terry, you just said that you can transcode your footage to a, you know, format that's much easier to edit. Why is that a big deal if you can do that? Well, that's because depending on how long your footage is, like how big of a video it is you're trying to transcode and everything, and of course how powerful your computer is, transcoding footage sometimes can take a lot of time. It could take a few seconds, it could take a few minutes, or if you're on a slower system, it could take hours. Like, sometimes you just don't know. So the fact that you can edit 10-bit 422 video natively on the RTX 5000 series, that's going to be incredible. But see, here's the thing though, okay, folks, here's the thing. If you use Intel CPUs, this is going to be no news to you. Why? Well, see, Intel, for their QuickSync technology, for their integrated GPUs on their processors, they actually introduced this capability back in the 11th gen series of desktop and mobile CPUs. They introduced the ability to use their integrated GPU, or their QuickSync, again, their QuickSync technology, to allow people to decode 10-bit 422 footage natively in Premiere, DaVinci Resolve, and I also believe you can use it in Sony Vegas, but it's no longer Sony Vegas. I believe it's just Vegas now. So the hardware is there, but honestly though, folks, that's one of the reasons why whenever people specifically say that, yeah, you know, I do a lot of gaming, but I'm a big editor, so I basically have to go with an Intel-based CPU. That's the reason why, because they always shoot in 10-bit 422, so because of that, they needed that Intel QuickSync technology. Fun fact here too, folks, what a lot of people are doing right now to get around this limitation, because, like, you know, for example, I have an RTX 4080. It can encode and decode freaking AV1 footage from OBS or whatever else it might be. It chews through, you know, 10-bit 420 footage, which is what I'm recording in with my A7 IV right now. But again, 10-bit 422 doesn't get touched at all. It bombards the CPU, and I have a 5900X, and it like 90-95% utilization on this thing to edit 10-bit 422 footage without transcoding first to like H.265, you know what I mean? So what a lot of people are doing now is that they are buying the cheapest Intel Arc graphics card. I believe it's the Intel Arc A380, because like their CPU counterparts, all of the Intel Arc GPUs, even the cheapest ones, allow for 10-bit 422 and decoding in DaVinci Resolve, in Premiere Pro, so on and so forth. But just to show you all the difference in hardware capabilities here. I'm going to show you my timeline in DaVinci Resolve here. And I'm not going to use OBS to record this, because if I did, it would make my whole computer lag, because that's how intense 10bit422 actually is. So I'm going to just show you my timeline. Then I'm going to show you my task manager here. Okay, so as y'all can see here, folks, I have DaVinci Resolve opened up right here, okay? This footage right here is 10bit422. This footage right here is 10bit420. Again, this is what I'm shooting in right now. But just take a look at the difference here whenever it comes to the CPU utilization and GPU utilization here, okay? It's going to be nuts here, okay, folks? Again, this is 10bit422. As you can see, it's utilizing the GPU just fine, as the way it should. But the second I go over here to the 10bit422, my processor is spiking up to like 70–80% usage. You see what I mean? And the GPU down there at the bottom, it's bouncing anywhere between 5 to 15%. So from a technical standpoint, does the GPU get used a little bit? Like, so little, it's basically negligible. It really is. It doesn't actually do anything for the footage, again, unless I, transcode the footage from 10bit422 and use a proxy to, like, 1080p H.265 or something, and then it works just fine as it should. And again, you could be sitting there saying, well, again, if you can transcode the footage, why is it a big deal? Well, as I mentioned a little bit ago, is that transcoding footage takes time. And if you're on a big production team that is responsible for editing videos or movies or whatever it might be quickly to get it out to clients, the amount of time it could take you to transcode that footage could be what it could set you back from working on other projects or getting started with maybe a new client, because they're handing you 10bit422 footage and it's like a 2-hour long thing, and you got to cut all that up, transcode it, then you can start your edit. So it just sets your editors back a little bit in time to where they can't work on other things, if that makes sense. So I mean, you never know here, folks, unless these companies are spending money to, put in a little ARC GPU in their current workstations. They very well could see the benefit of even buying, an RTX 5070 Ti, just to say, hey, it's like $500 or something, $500–600. But if it can save my editors, a couple hours a day to not have to transcode, time is money to a lot of people out there. So, I mean, this could definitely be a game changer for a lot of people here, myself included, because, personally, I do shoot in 10bit420, not 422. And that's mainly because the environment that I do my shooting in is this right here. It's in a controlled environment to where I have my light set to a certain temperature. I have my blinds down, so I can pretty much control the lighting environment. You know what I mean? But let's say you're shooting outside a lot, or you need a lot of high resolution color data because you're the type of person that likes to do a lot of green screen work, or maybe you just need the highest resolution color data possible because you like to do a lot of point tracking, so you can apply effects and everything in post, but you need those little point markers on somebody's face or on their clothing or in their environment or whatever it might be to, again, to just track stuff in real time to apply effects later. Well, the thing with 422 10-bit is that you're going to have a lot more color data, a lot more color resolution, as they say, to make sure that those tracking points are accurate. And if you use a green screen, you're not going to get that green halo-y effect as easily that you might with the lower bitrate video codec. You know what I mean? So, yeah, like the fact that it's taken NVIDIA this long to implement this on a hardware level on their graphics cards, I think is honestly kind of ridiculous. And the fact that Intel was able to do this on their very first generation line of ARC GPUs, that's what, whatever, right? But hopefully, and I do not know this for sure or not, but hopefully for the Radeon 9000 series from our good friends over at AMD, hopefully they're going to implement something like this here as well, because I know that when NVIDIA brought out their AV1 encoding and decoding capabilities AMD said, oh, hey guys, by the way, our 7000 can do that too, guys and gals. So yeah, it's like pick us too, right? So hopefully they'll implement the same kind of tech on their Radeon 9000 series of GPUs that they're coming out with here shortly. But again, they sort of kind of skipped over those. I believe at CES, they didn't really talk about it too much. So I have no idea. I really don't. So, but yeah, I just wanted to make this quick little video here today to show you all this really, well, just not really show, because I don't have one obviously, but just to talk about this pretty cool new feature from our friends over at NVIDIA and their new RTX 5000 series line of GPUs. So if you are an editor out there, I have to know, is this something you're excited about? Is this something you're looking forward to? Or is this something that you didn't know about because it's not really in a lot of the, you know, the paperwork, if that makes sense, for the RTX 5000 series? Do me a favor, sound off down below. I would love to hear your feedback, thoughts, and opinions as per usual. And again, y'all, my name is Terry. Thanks a lot for coming by. I'll catch you guys and gals next time.